Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Waubonsee Community College's Sports Spotlight. I'm your host, Steve Moga, and this is a show where we talk Chiefs athletics. And joining me today is Steve Kish, the head volleyball coach for Waubonsee's women's volleyball team. And Coach Kish, thank you for dropping in before you hit the road.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And I want to talk to you about, obviously, this season here. The 2018 season is well underway for your team. It's been pretty successful thus far overall.
Yep.
Right now, as we record the show, your record stands at 14-5 overall, 3-0 in the Illinois Skyway Collegiate Conference. But I think the bigger story with your whole team is the competition you've played is ridiculous. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
You've played a tremendous schedule this year, and that will continue this weekend as you hit the road and go to Kansas City, where you play 4 teams that are in the top 25 in the nation, including 3 that are in the top 10, including number 1 and number 2 teams in the country. What are you trying to do to your girls, Coach?
I'm trying to break them mentally so that we can bounce back by the end of the season. No, it's we just want to get them out there, the exposure to see these other teams and kind of be pushed and competed against, not just see the same teams and the same kids they've played with in club. I'd like them to get more of an exposure to what's actually out there and who we can actually play. And if we do actually make it to nationals, they've got a sense of what we're getting into once we get there.
Well, you'll definitely have a sense of that. You've played some nationally ranked teams prior to this weekend in Kansas City. Now you go there, you're going to play Coffeyville, Kansas, who is the defending national champions. They're number 1 in the country right now. They're 15-0.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Cowley College from Kansas, who's number 2. They're 14-1.
Yeah.
Talk about jumping up in the schedule strength. I mean, you got to have one of the strongest schedules in the entire country for Division II junior colleges.
Yeah, we looked at it last year, and we kind of decided with the fact that we're a very heavy sophomore squad, and especially our starting group is all sophomores but 1, and we decided that the only way that we're going to kind of get over that hump that we've been stuck on for the last 4 or 5 years is just we've got to push them to get more comfortable in that more of an intense environment, more of an intense match. So we looked at who it was around, and just with some of the connections and people I've met over the years and who we could actually play against and who we've met, they contacted me and said, hey, why don't you make a little drive out here? And somehow I convinced myself to take an 8-hour bus ride with the girls and go to Kansas and see what we can do.
Well, let's talk about the team now. You mentioned the girls. I think your team, obviously you've got several dynamic pieces to your team, but it really starts with Natalie Jones, your sophomore setter from West Aurora, who everything seems to run through her. She's also right now number 1 in the country in aces served. I believe she's got 61 after last night's match, and she's also, of course, she's got a lot of service errors. Now, that's one of those things that you really preach to your team. You don't care about the service errors as long as they're aggressive with their serves.
Yeah, it's something we've preached about since the moment they walk in the gym. It's I don't want to lollipop a ball at them. I want to, as long as you're serving aggressively and you're trying to force the point to keep them out of system to make our life a little bit easier, and you miss once in a while, I'm okay with that.
Well, Natalie is also in the top, I believe, 15 in the country in assists as well. But everything kind of runs through her, and you've got the extra little twist of things with your assistant coach is her father, Bob.
Yeah, Bob was he joined us last year, and Bob and I have played with and against each other for over 20 years, and we've talked about working together. And when I had Mallory, her older sister, prior to her, and then Bob and I kind of chatted about it once the girls were out of high school. He came on board when Natalie came in, and we kind of had a conversation about it, and he's been a great asset to the team. He's been a huge help.
Well, not only has he been a help, but it certainly helps having a couple big hitters. And Kayla Battle has been one of your key cogs in your life. Also a blocker up front. She's right up there in the top in the country in solo blocks right now.
Yeah, she's one of the nice things about her is when we brought her in, she was a 3-sport athlete in high school. Didn't play a lot of club, which is fine, but the kid can just get off the ground. I mean, she's touching 10-4, 10-5 right now, which is kind of at a D1 level for blocking. So just getting her kind of fine-tuned and getting her tweaked to where she needs to be a little bit more competitive and to kind of lead the team in the front row. Physically and emotionally, she does very well at doing that. So she's nice to have.
And talk about elevating. I mean, she elevates on a lot of her kills. I mean, those are power spikes. I don't even know how to describe those things. It's just I wouldn't want to be in the way of any of those.
Yeah, we've done some scrimmages, and she's tagged me at practice a few times. It's not a pretty feeling. So yeah, she gets a hold of it very well. Yeah.
Most successful teams obviously have more than one weapon. You've got Sydney Fodor as well on the outside, who kind of brings a similar type of game.
Yeah, Sydney, she's 6 foot outside or right side hitter. She does a lot of the attacking for us. She has a great block. A lot of the attack at this level does come from more of an outside, and just having that long reach and that big swing. And Sydney has a pretty good gift at pretty much putting the ball anywhere on the court, so that makes our life a lot easier, where she can move it to a hard angle, tight angle, or just tip it shorter, just break the kids' fingers, hitting it off their hands. So it's nice to have her on the court.
Two other people who have really filled in some spots too that you really need and aren't intimidating physically. They're not 6 foot like Sydney, but Emma King and Maisie Larson are both weapons on the offensive side.
Yeah, we moved Emma from right side to outside last year. After last year, she had a good year last year. We've been kind of searching for her identity over the last 6 months or so, and kind of midway through through spring season and really into our summer practice time, she kind of emerged as kind of more of a longer approach, a little bit more of an outside attack, and with her speed to the ball, it's kind of stepped up the speed of our offense on the outside attack. And then Maisie being here for a year, she got some playing time last year. She needed to grow a little bit, but she put the time in the gym and put the work in, and she's kind of a go-to kid for us now. So I'm glad she stuck it out and worked out through the issues, and now she's one of the kids I depend on the court.
Another person who you can depend on lately and who has emerged is Anna Friedlin, who's really become another force in the middle for you.
Yeah, Anna comes to us from DeKalb, and she was we're not sure where we're going to use her, but we knew she had a great arm and she had a great swing. She needed a little bit of fine tuning of what she actually does, and that's kind of how her serve has kind of come into play here in the last week and a half or so. Made some adjustments to what that is to get after it, and the power and just the timing, getting her and Natalie on the same page. But definitely has basically been one of those missing pieces that we've needed. And
of course, you got to have some people who the libero position or really are able to get a lot of digs for you. You got Kendall Iverson who jumps right in there, and you've had some other rotating pieces in there really helped you. Yeah, that was one of the things we focused on the off season, because I think we didn't really try hard enough to find and solidify that role. Kendall, Bob coached her in club several years ago, and she kind of went her own direction, and then ended up coming to us by way of Indiana State through Joliet over to here, and kind of wish we would have found her a year ago, but we'll go from what's going after that. But she's a good kid. She's come in, very emotional player on the team, and the nice thing is she brings a vocal presence in that back row, which is what we were missing, and it helps us out quite a bit. We only got about 2 minutes here, Coach. I got to ask you, you did something new this year you've never done before. You hosted your own Chiefs Invitational, and it turned into the largest NJCAA volleyball tournament in the country. It had 31 teams in Erickson Hall and in the Wabanse's Field House. And that was quite an event. It made the most recent one where you did the Chiefs crossover, which was just schools from the Region 4. Boy, it made it easy to run that one with only 12 teams. Yeah, that was. we were walking around during that one, and I looked at Dana, and she said, "This is kind of easy. I feel bored." So yeah, that tournament was nice. It was kind of a goal. I've been talking with teams with all the traveling that we do, and I've gotten to know a lot of different coaches. And everybody's been trying to find that kind of the beginning of the season location and time and place where everybody kind of meets, and you can see some teams you don't normally see. And there was a tournament in the Dells that people were kind of not real happy with how it was being run, and it went from 15 to 16 teams, and all of a sudden it just kept growing and growing. And next thing I know, we hit that 31 mark, and this place was hopping. Well, obviously some great competition there. You had Parkland in that tournament. Owens from Ohio, you went to their tournament after that. Yep. You've played some tremendous competition, but in our region it's always McHenry, Sauk, Carl Sandburg, Wabanse are always kind of in the mix. This year, McHenry's down a little bit, Sauk's down a little bit, but now Sandburg jumps up, and they've got a pretty good team. Yeah, they've got a good squad. When we played them on Sunday, I think it was probably my own fault in the scheduling process. I probably should have put them a little bit earlier in the weekend so we weren't so worn down. But I think we match up with them, honestly, point for point. Looking at the film on it, they're
we're pretty equal in what we've got between players and personnel packages and stuff. So I think it's just going to matter who's going to make the least amount of mistakes if we have to see them in the playoffs at all. But they're a great team. They're very good, very dynamic, great passing, great offense. Todd's got a good group of girls to work with another year, so we'll see what we can do when we get them again.
Well, so do you. You have a pretty good group too, Coach. Well,
yeah, I do.
Certainly hope that opportunity is going to come up, and we will see in the future. I'm sure it will. But first things first, you got a lot of other big matches coming up. Good luck on those.
Thank you.
And good luck in your road trip. Be safe driving. Let Bob drive so you don't get any speeding tickets.
Yeah, I don't need that. So.
All right, we're going to take a break here on Sports Spotlight. When we come back, we're going to talk about the men's soccer team and the women's soccer team. We're both having great seasons thus far this fall. Stay with us here on Sports Spotlight.
I'm one unlucky guy. The chance of being involved in a robbery is 1 in 757. The chances of being struck by lightning. 1 in 750,000.
Please fasten your seatbelts for unexpected turbulence.
The chances of being a victim in an airline crash? 1 in 29 million. Hey, could I get some peanuts? The chances of being involved in a car crash are far greater than lightning strikes and plane crashes. And if you are texting while driving, your risk of crash increases 23 times. Now, I may be an unlucky guy, but I don't have to be part of that statistic, and neither do you. Drive responsibly.
Welcome back to Sports Spotlight. A quick reminder, you can get more information about Chiefs athletics by going online to gochiefs.com, as well as get information about the Illinois Skyway Collegiate Conference, the NJCAA's website, and the Region 4 website, all there at gochiefs.com. And joining me now is the women's head soccer coach, Brad Schlemmer. And Coach, thanks for coming in, and as always, making me look bad. You're always better dressed than me. It goes without saying. But Coach, thanks for coming in, and I want to talk about your team this year, the 2018 Chiefs. You've had a lot of success here early on. You're 7-0 with one tie on the season already, kind of setting the tone for things and building up to this matchup possibly with your nemesis. I got to say nemesis at this point because Moraine Valley has been kind of your nemesis the last few years, and you're going to match up with them October 3rd in kind of a showdown for the battle for the conference title. But let's talk about this team first and foremost. You've had some really good matches. You've had people step up in place of other people with injuries. I mean, that's the mark of a really good team. You've got depth, and you've got obviously some good defense. You've kept people off the board. You're able to put pressure on them with multiple offensive weapons. I guess one question is, how would you defend yourself? I mean, how do you stop this team?
And you want me to tell everybody
No,
how to go ahead and do that. But you mentioned stepping up. I always tell people, our players when we're recruiting them, be open to any position. We want field time, or if somebody goes down with injury. We have 22 games, so there's plenty of playing time for girls. Mm-hmm. They need to step up in different positions, learn different positions, become complete players. And it's happened. It's all about the attitude that these girls bring in. And they're always open to different mm-hmm. positions, and so that's helped us out. So I can fit people at different spots, and we've been pretty successful so far. Yeah.
Well, in particular, Alexis Cornea has stepped in as your keeper in place of Tanner Perelber, who was your returning starter who got injured, and she's been phenomenal back there.
Yeah, we put the trust in her, and she stepped up. She was actually Tanner's backup mm-hmm. in high school, and we found that out very quickly. And so Alexis, she's really stepped up. We have Merritt Stokel, our new assistant coach. Melissa Martinez was our goalkeeper coach for the last 100 years, and she's always made good goalkeepers. And then Merritt stepped up this year, and she's also, she actually was a starter at Indiana University. She was a Hoosier, and then she was a All-American goalkeeper herself. So going ahead and passing that information along. The girls' attitudes are great. They're open. They're willing to go ahead and listen. And so they've done a great job of taking their leadership and then putting it on the field here.
Merritt's been a great addition to your coaching staff. Her along with Andrea Garcia as well, another former player who knows the program too. They certainly have made their impact felt already, but somebody else who made their impact, incoming freshman, immediately made her impact felt was Isabel Sirte. She's just been phenomenal. 21 goals on the season. She's been either second or third in the nation in goals scored. She's got 4 assists as well. She's right up there in the top with points scored as well. Her very first 2 matches of her collegiate career, she scored 4 goals in both of those. I mean, she's just been this incredible offensive weapon for you. It makes your job pretty easy, doesn't it?
Yeah, I just let her loose, as well as Marlene Sanchez. She's another top striker for us. But Isa and Marlene there, I have never had this. This is my 10th season. Never had this, that they asked for the records up front. Before August 1st, they're saying, hey, what's the goal scoring record? What's the assist record? And we had no problem passing it along there. And so their goal is to score goals. So I kind of let them loose there. I don't do too much coaching other than that we're playing off of them. And so I let them loose, and they've done a fantastic job there.
You always have to have people who will be able to get them the ball in position where they can score, and you've got some pretty good midfielders there as well. Megan Menzel came back from last year as one of your weapons on the other side of the field. Now she's in the midfield, along with Kimberly Diaz and Marissa Van Wy. You've got 3 players right there, Annalise Tobias and Kelly Huber. I mean, again, I kind of go back to my statement, how do you stop this team? You've got, obviously, multiple offensive weapons in addition to those 2 up front. It's like, you're a handful for opponents.
Yeah, and then I know that you mentioned a lot of the offense, but the defense is just big key. They don't get the stats, but defense wins championships. It's not just something you just throw out there. We have a solid defensive line as well, and that's really allowed our goals to happen. I think we have 4 straight shutouts there. So these girls are pretty confident with what's behind them, so they don't have to worry about that. And then we're just attacking teams right there. So it's really a complete team, especially with the girls coming off the bench and helping out. But I'm really excited about going forward the next part of this season here. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that defense real quickly. And we started kind of with the keepers, but you're right. The defense has been a mainstay for you. You've got 2 people back there who you're not only stalwarts defensively, but they're your captains, your co-captains as well, in Taylor Zitkus and Alex Hernandez.
Yeah, Alexa and Z,
Yeah.
love them both, but they give the leadership back there. We had just played Oakton, very tough opponent this year, and we had won 1-0. And it was really them saying, we're not letting anything by. They're talking about marking up. So nothing was, our confidence was in them. I did not do too much coaching that game. I kind of let them go ahead and figure things out there. And really, my job is to prepare these girls for playoffs. And so the leadership back there, it was a joy to watch. To be honest, I'm their biggest fan. They may not see it that way, but I'm their biggest fan. These girls are awesome.
Alexa is always very vocal, which is what you want in a leader, and especially as a defensive leader back there, communicate with her teammates. And some of those teammates are, again, a sophomore, a lot of experience, and Renee Corvo, and you've got a newcomer and Jenny Nunez, also Samantha Noble, and Lasoli Ramirez back there. So, good, solid core of defenders.
Oh yeah, and that's what makes it nice. Is we played some top scorers as well in the region. And they've taken up to the challenge there. These girls are really hungry. I just kind of lit a little flame there, and they took it on here. And they're really in the back of their mind, they're set for Moraine Valley, the 3-peat champion, region champion, conference champion. So in the back of their mind, they all know that everything's preparing for them.
Well, you've been knocking on the door against that 3-peat champion, not only the conference but the region as well. You're right there with them, and. What do you know about them this year? Obviously, they're in a very similar track with their record and everything else, building up to this October 3rd matchup. Very complete team, always is, well coached. I tell the girls, in fact, we actually scouted them last night. They're mirrors of us, and they just got us the last 3 years and just edged us out. And how the schedule's kind of worked is the last 3 years since Al got there, their head coach. I've played them there 5 times and only once here, and so we finally have them here again, and that was including playoffs those 5 times. So I'd like to get them back on home court and see how we do, but they're really mirror images. We've been 1-2 for the last 3 years here, and so the girls are very excited. They really wanted to go out and see how
how they were. We had 10 players out of our 17 roster show up to go ahead and scout these girls. I put it out there as an option, but these girls want to see what's going on here, and they're taking charge. I just kind of, like I said, put a little flame there, and they've burned into a fire here, so it looks good.
Well, we will see October 3rd here in Sugar Grove as your team takes on the Cyclones of Moraine Valley in the big showdown for the Illinois Skyway Collegiate Conference possibly title. And, of course, that'll lead into the Region 4 tournament later on. But we need to take a break here on Sports Spotlight. When we come back, we're going to talk with Gabran Rodriguez about the men's soccer team. So stay with us.
Listen.
All it took was someone who would insist that I just try.
Suddenly, everything was turned around because they judge you.
You tell them, I don't need this.
No one is going to understand.
Unless they've been through it, how can they?
Then one day you realize
You feel so hopeless.
I need help. I need help.
You feel so hopeless.
Then one day you realize
Unless they've been through it, how can they understand?
I don't need this.
No one's going to judge you.
suddenly everything was turned around because they insist that I just try.
All it took was someone who would just
Listen.
Back here on Sports Spotlight, we've talked a little volleyball. We also talked women's soccer, and we're going to talk men's soccer here in just a moment. But I got to mention that the men's cross country team is ranked 15th nationally in the first NJCAA Division I poll. Coach Trevor Howard's squad doing very well right out of the gate. And got to mention a couple of guys here. Jordan Van Beringer from Rockford East, been leading the way as well as Brad Osuch from Oswego, Stefan Merriweather from Plainfield Central, and Tomas Dominguez from West Aurora. Those four have really been key runners for the men's cross country team. Also, men's golf team finished 6th recently at the Skyhawk Classic, that's Sauk Valley's tournament. Jake Head from Canelan High School finished 4th individually, and Jackson Clark was 9th. And the women's tennis team also with 4-1 off to a pretty good start. Jen McMullen's team doing a pretty good job. They had 3 straight matches where they've won 9-0 here recently. And speaking of teams winning big scores to nil, joining me now, Gabran Rodriguez, to talk about men's soccer. And before I get into all of it, Coach, I'm not used to seeing you with long hair, but tell us a little bit about that.
You know, this is not the first time I do it. I remember a couple years back I did it, and I was able to donate it for Lots for Love. And I decided to do it again. So here I am trying to donate hair to Lots for Love, you know, to benefit those kids that really need it. So.
Well, I think actually at this point you might have to let it grow because you guys are on a winning streak. You can't mess with that now. You can't cut it.
Well, I'm not superstitious. I believe in work, and I believe in what we do. You know, yeah, we do have a routine, but other than that, I mean, this is for a great cause, and thank God that I'm able to do something like that to help young children out.
Well, you not only help them, but you help this Chiefs team as well. Yeah. Brett Suhaida, the head coach, you're his main assistant coach now. Yes. What is the 7th or 8th year? I always
8th year.
8th year. I lose track sometimes, but this is one of those teams. You've had some really good teams in the past, but this team has started out on a roll and just seems to be getting stronger and stronger as you go along. You're 7-0-1 right now as we stand here as we record the show today, and you've had some pretty impressive wins already.
Yeah. We've came along defensively very strong. We've, tightened it up here and there. In the beginning of the season, you always have that problem with chemistry and stuff. But we've been handling ourselves well, and we just take, like always, we take a game at a time,
It seems like you've had a different guy step forward to get some of the key goals when you needed key goals. You've had a couple of tight matches as well. You had a really close victory over Morton College. You have a close victory over Oakton as well.
Yes.
Whether it's a Jose Alfaro or a Emmanuel Magana, guys have stepped up and gotten some big goals for you.
Yeah, we are very strong. We have a lot of depth. So anybody from the bench coming off can step up and score a goal and make a difference for our team. And that's the difference. You know, this team is key in depth. So, you know, we got a natural pool of talent, you know. We also got a really good backline, you know, leading the way with Adrian Bravo. He's been spectacular, you know, so we're fortunate. And then having the Tanguni, I always get his name messed up. Getting him is also a very fortunate that we have him, as well as Chris, because, you know, one goes down, and then we have another strong guy coming back.
Yeah, you rotated between the two keepers with Chris Rubio and Daryl Tanguni, who was originally from Cameroon.
Yes.
And they've both been phenomenal back there, both very athletic, and obviously the type of things you look for in a good keeper.
Yes, both of them are athletic. Both of them can step up, you know, to take care of the game, and that's really rare because sometimes you only have really one good keeper, and then after that, if that one guy goes down, then, you know, you got something decent to hold on to goal, but we're in a unique situation, thank God. So.
Also a unique situation. Again, the sign of all good teams, they always have more than one scorer, and you've obviously had that with Magana and some other guys up front. Michael Walklaw as well has really stepped in and has become a key scoring threat for you.
Yeah, Michael Walklaw is very deceptive when it comes to, you know, his physicality, but his speed and sprint with the ball and his movement with the ball is just amazing. And then we got Edgar Esquivel as well that steps up and takes those long range shots and able to capitalize and, you know, when we get the opportunity, take that shot from 20 to 15 yards out. So.
Well, you guys have had guys like that every year. It seems like you have a couple of strikers who are really formidable offensive threats, and other teams really got to account for them, and that makes you tough to defend. But again, you go back to the defense, and defense has been a key for this team too. But let's talk about the teams you've seen so far. Obviously, you're right there with Moraine Valley for the top spot. That's the team that you went head-to-toe with last year for the Region 4 title.
Yes.
Also, obviously, in the Illinois Skyway Collegiate Conference, it's going to be that same battle again this year.
Yes.
And you're going to get to see them here pretty soon. September 25th will be the showdown at Moraine Valley.
Yes.
And what do you know about them so far? And you're both undefeated in conference right now. You both look very similar.
We actually went out to scout, well, myself, and they play similar. They play the Eastern European, you know, with the Greek style of soccer, which is defensively they like to counter. Like last year, they were just countering us on our mistakes. So we just got to come out and play our game, and we should be fine. You know, we already know how they play, so we just got to take it to them.
Well, that's always one of the best ways to, like you say, counter. I mean, I've always felt that way. It's like as soon as you get somebody on their heels, go after them, and you guys have always done a great job of that. Tell me a little bit more, a couple other teams too that you've in the region. I mean, obviously it's you and Moraine Valley at this point, but there's a couple other teams there too that have looked pretty good, and you can't look past anybody. Let's put it that way.
Well, no, we're not looking past anyone. Actually, this year we can't because it's been a battle. Everybody's been beating everybody, and especially with, you know, another powerhouse, Morton College, and you got Malcolm X being extremely talented this year. So, you know, you got, I believe, South Suburban is an also very strong opponent. Last year, I remember they beat us, and you know, this conference and region has been getting so strong, and then Oakton as well. So we can't let down, and we have to be on our toes and come play ready to play every game.
Well, so far so good. You have been on your toes. You've come ready to play. Been a great start, 7-0-1 so far. Hopefully we can, when we talk again, we'll still be talking about no losses for the Chiefs and continue to roll on. But Coach, thanks for stopping in. We are out of time here on Sports Spotlight. On behalf of all my guests, Steve Kish, Brad Schlemmer, Gabron Rodriguez, our entire crew, Jamie Lara, Chris Foster, and our executive producer, Jim McGarrah, we thank you for watching, everybody. So long. We'll see you next time.